This week, Across Africa brings you a France 24 exclusive. Our correspondent travels to the most remote villages of the Central African Republic to find out how they protect themselves from the deadly raids of the Lord's Resistance Army. We will also be reporting from Eritrea's first mine to reach full production. Copper and zinc are being extracted from the Bisha mine, an emerging sector that the government hopes can help boost the economy of one of the world's poorest countries. Our team got rare access. And bringing classical music to the slums of Nairobi one note at a time, the world's best musicians are on board, mentoring the children. The Lord's Resistance Army is notorious for its brutal tactics, killing 100,000 people during a rebellion in Uganda, and the LRA is still spreading terror, attacking villages in the hinterlands of South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic. And that's precisely where this report was filed. NGOs have been providing radios to local communities so that they can sound the alarm when LRA fighters launch an attack. Anthony Fouchard has this story with Katerina Vitozzi.
Every morning, it's the same routine. Janik sits next to the radio and calls the surrounding villages. Today, the LRA has struck again.
What's the situation where you are? An operator has told us about an attack in a village called Dembia. It was attacked between 5 and 9 o'clock this morning. It's believed that it was the LRA that was behind it. They were armed with AK-47s, rocket-propelled grenades, and wore military uniforms. So we are going to alert the security forces.
American Special Forces, Ugandan soldiers and the Central African Republic's army have chased the LRA across the region. Whenever the rebel group's movements are detected, the soldiers set off in pursuit.
Normally, we get information from the U.S. Army or from our friends in the Ugandan Army, as well as from hunters and villagers. So straight away, we set off on patrol, either on foot, by vehicle, or by helicopter, to stabilize the situation.
In event of an attack, the radio community transmits information almost in real time. In Mboki, deep in the bush, it's the only way people can protect themselves.
Before, when we didn't have the radio, we really suffered. But now we have our radio. If we hear that the LRA are about to attack us, we can quickly prepare ourselves, thanks to the radio.
But despite the radio warning system, the LRA's killed or kidnapped more than 200 people in Central African Republic since the start of the year.
And now we continue our Eritrea series. France 24's Nicolas Germain and Roméo Langlois were granted rare access to this secretive nation in the Horn of Africa. Last week, they surveyed the country's politics. Now they report on Eritrea's economic outlook. The country is betting on the development of the mining sector, hoping that it will help lift many Eritreans out of poverty.
To reach the Bisha mine, it's a 5-hour drive from the capital Asmara towards the Sudanese border. It's Eritrea's first mine in full production, and the authorities hope it can boost the economy in a country where people earn $3 a day on average. The mine initially produced gold and is now yielding copper and zinc. Bisha is jointly owned by the Eritrean state and Canadian company Nevsun. Managers believe there are more minerals in the region.
We are very busy exploring in the near mine vicinity, and we think the ground's very prospective. We've had a number of releases recently of very good intercepts, so we're quite encouraged and excited about our exploration program.
Abdul Karim Sidibe comes from Mali and is employed here as a senior planning engineer. To work in Eritrea, you have to accept certain conditions.
The main objective of the state is to train Eritrean workers so that after some time they can replace the expatriates. If I want to extend my contract, I need to train Eritreans.
Eritrean workers here are paid much more than many of their fellow citizens who do national service for years on very low wages, but they still have some complaints.
Hardship workers getting salary low and who are working in the office, they are getting more than us. That's our complaint only, but accommodation and something is good.
Eritrea says it hopes to have 4 mines in operation by 2018. Its government comes from a Marxist guerrilla group that won a 30-year independence war against its vast neighbour Ethiopia. It doesn't want to abandon mines to the private sector.
Some multinational companies say it isn't always very easy to do business here in Eritrea. This mine in Bisha is held at 60% by the Canadian Nefsen and at 40% by the Eritrean authorities. 40% for the government, that's a much higher stake than in many other African countries.
Cameroon has seen the number of attacks from Boko Haram steadily increase. There have been no less than 6 suicide bombs this year alone in the country's northern region. And the army is struggling to contain that threat. Soldiers have started to use drones to survey the battlefield, but not the military variety. As Ben Barnier shows us, there are just standard, off-the-shelf drones enlisted in the fight against Islamic terror.
A plastic bug fighting a regional plague. The army of Cameroon is now equipped with drones and uses them to spot Boko Haram's positions.
It allows us to save precious human resources. It's a safer procedure. It does not mean that the soldiers posted here are not committed to the region's security. It just makes their job a little safer.
The task at hand is to monitor Cameroon's border with Nigeria. A particularly tricky job done by Cameroon and its neighbors. In this fierce battle against the terror group, drones are a welcome addition to the army's arsenal.
We can monitor areas within a range of 2 to 3 kilometers. We use our drones for surveillance purposes. We have other tools too, but cannot show them to you.
Despite the new technologies and the troops' commitment on the ground, local populations pay a heavy toll. Since 2009, an estimated 18,000 people have been killed by Boko Haram.
Online shopping is taking off in West Africa, and Jumia, the local equivalent of Amazon, already has a big chunk of the market, but it's still trying to overcome an important hurdle. Not everyone has internet access. Well, Jumia is betting on smartphones and apps to overcome that. This next report from Rosie Collier and Moïse Gomis takes us to Nigeria.
Ruth and Smart are sales representatives for Jumia.com, an online shop. Their work takes them to every corner of Lagos. They are 2 of over 45,000 independent sales agents. Ruth and Smart focus on people without internet access and help connect them with Jumia using a smartphone.
When you're able to show them those things online, some can really realize that if this can be brought to my own house, why bother myself, stress myself, go over to the market and get what I want if they can easily deliver it here?
Jumia has a workforce of over 15,000 people in Nigeria. It is the #1 online shop in Africa, a continent with a virtually untapped consumer market. Jumia's potential has attracted the attention of international investors, including the French insurance giant AXA. Fatoumata Ba, the managing director of Jumia, says the company has grown to become a multinational.
We work with many different brands, national and international brands. Of course, we will need more investment so that we can employ teams of people to market our site to all the brands that see Africa as a new retail frontier.
Jumia delivers throughout Nigeria. 50% of those deliveries are in the commercial capital, Lagos. Delivery drivers battle with the city's notorious traffic jams to reach their customers, sometimes taking huge risks in poorer parts of this mega city.
I'm not there yet. I try to avoid all the avoidable stress-prone issues.
Having conquered the Nigerian market, where it is over 100 million subscriber, Jumia has its sights set on becoming a global online giant.
Now, piano and violin are not the typical sounds that you would expect to hear in Nairobi's slums, but a new charity in Kenya has made it its mission to teach kids classical music. And to kickstart the project, they're bringing in some of the world's most eminent musicians to show children how it's done.
Tempting the kids off the streets using classical music. This is the aim of Ghetto Classics, an association launched in 2009 in Korogocho, one of Nairobi's largest slums. It's now teaching more than 300 children to play a musical instrument.
They're out of trouble, they're doing good, they're dreaming big, they want more, and the community themselves does admit that Ghetto Classics has been the most impactful program because of the skills that we teach the kids, that they stand out as mentors to the other children.
Pavel Timofeyevsky, a world-renowned pianist of Russian origin, has come to perform a series of concerts in Nairobi. The proceeds will all go to funding music education for underprivileged children in the Korogocho slums. On his first visit to the country, Timofeyevsky was keen to meet Kenya's youth.
This is very important, just like I was inspired when I was a child, when I would meet professional musicians. I mean, you have to see, to have even the hope of maybe wanting to become a professional musician, you have to meet professional musicians. So therefore, I'm very glad that I can do this.
Eric first became interested in music in 2009, thanks to Ghetto Classics, starting off as a singer and then as a saxophonist. And for the first time in his life, he was able to play a duet with a great musician.
They motivate us to keep on working hard, keep on practicing, because we also want to be like them, to play international level, play around the world, play for people.
More than $5,000 have been raised so far. And with more international artists expected in Nairobi this summer, it seems that the classical music scene here is set to stay.
All right, well, that's it from us for this week, but do stay tuned. More news coming up right now on France 24.